You have to believe that you belong in that game. You have to believe that you're actually a player, not just somebody on the sideline watching. Hi, welcome back. I'm Keith. This is Melissa.
Welcome. Today we want to discuss story versus fact. The way you interpret the world is not fact. We can think it is, but we see everything through our own filter. So we want to dive in a little deeper here and reinforce that our beliefs around our business are not exactly true. It is what we've decided to believe. Our programming around our business and your life is a deeply rooted part of your identity. But we don't always recognize this. People don't notice their own patterns and thought processes. We tend not to recognize this, and we really aren't always receptive to having someone else pointing it out. Because just as I said a few minutes ago, we all have internal programming from childhood, from your experiences, from your conditioning through your life, from what you were taught in school to what your parents taught you about money. Programming that you don't even recognize you have. Or even if you do recognize this programming, you may not see how it affects different aspects of your life. We all have old stories that we carry around with us, and shedding these old stories is key to changing how you approach your business. It is really story versus fact, the story you tell yourself versus the facts of the actual situation. Becoming self-aware is a great starting point because the more you recognize how you think affects how you feel, and how you feel is a catalyst to the actions you take or don't take, and of course, the results you get. I keep emphasizing this connection because it is a core premise in our coaching program. Once you start paying attention to this, it is a life changer. But stay with me because I know it can be a little confusing or seem oversimplified at first. If you are anything like us, operating your photography business, there have been many times when we have felt stuck. I know because I speak with a lot of photographers, we speak with a lot of photographers that have the same feeling. Your photography business is stuck. You just can't seem to move the business forward. Maybe you're making the same money year over year, or maybe you just can't get the business off the ground. Or maybe your business is stuck in some other way, like you wish you were charging $5,000 instead of $1,000 to shoot a wedding, but you can't seem to make the transition. Maybe you're under-earning, working with the wrong clients, or saying yes to any job that comes your way. You are stuck somewhere and you want to do something about it. We know how hard it is to get your business unstuck. We have had numerous pain points over the years and have had to face numerous obstacles when growing our business. And it wasn't until we recognized this programming that we had, what a big part of our identity and how it affected our way of thinking and what we believed our business was capable of doing. That's when it became unstuck. But I get it. We all get attached to our thoughts. They are so true to us. They are indisputable facts that you have accepted as truth, and they form how you run your business and how you live your life. You weave this story about your business. Maybe you say you've tried everything, the market is saturated, you aren't motivated, it's too hard to get in front of new clients, there's too much competition, and all the pain points I just mentioned a few paragraphs ago. But instead of believing the story, instead of rinse and repeating the story, wonder if you stopped for a minute and questioned why you were choosing to think these thoughts. Wonder if you stopped for a second and took a real hard look at, quote, I've tried everything for my business. What does it really look like? Or insert your own thought here. I remember about 16 or 17 years ago, we were struggling due to the 2008 recession. And I was jealous of this other photographer couple in our market. They were cute, they had the perfect smiles, and in my story that I created about them, they were lucky. They hadn't put in as much time as we had. How dare they jump into the top of the Phoenix wedding market, to the top of Google. Like a toddler, I was practically stomping my feet thinking of how they didn't deserve this. We did. Geez, that was like a really ugly story that I was telling myself.
I forgot about that.
It woke me up because you know why they were at the top of Google and at the top of the Phoenix photography market? Because they told themselves a different story. I stopped for a minute and realized that Keith and I, needed to create a different narrative for our business. What we were currently doing that wasn't working, and what could we be doing differently? I had to let their story temporarily defeat us. But once we took our story into our own hands and started chipping away at story versus the facts, my thoughts started to change. It was like a fog lifting. In order to move forward, I needed new options for my thoughts. What could I think differently so that I could feel differently, and then take actions based on my new and improved story about how our business was going to be. This changed our business, but also our lives. The awakening. This new way of interpreting our world, it happened in small steps. It has been an evolution, but it all started with us changing the filter we viewed our world through. We had a pattern of behavior in our business that we needed to change. For the first time, I understood that we were stuck because of us. Do you know what came from this? Without even knowing it, our path to Paris emerged all those years ago. Our thinking changed that year. After the holidays, we decided that we were going to take a month off every year. So between January to July, we had to figure this out. The result we wanted was for our business to support us financially, but also support this month's sabbatical every year. So we got to work. We stopped allowing these stories that didn't serve us from hijacking what was possible for us. This was a first step. A turning point, separating fact from fiction, deciding on our priorities, and making sure that we created the results that we wanted. At that moment, we didn't know how, but we were determined.
Right.
So how do you get started separating fact from fiction in your business? Many of us hang on to beliefs we developed when we were too young to even know any better. And these beliefs can be at the core of the stories we have created for ourselves. Start paying attention to these thought patterns that constantly pop up for you. So think about your business with purpose. Think about what you want your new story to be for your business and decide how you want to show up. That was a lot to blurt out.
But again, it's all totally true. The idea that was sort of again, you are what you think you are. So if you say that you're the best, but you really think that you're not, that you're faking it till you make it, then the faking it part is what's going to keep you back. Like, you have to believe that you belong in that game. You have to believe that you're actually a player, not just somebody on the sideline watching. Because otherwise, to bring up cliches, but said your brain, your body doesn't go where your brain hasn't been before. So if you can't believe that you belong in that arena, then your body's not going in. So.
And I remember back to that moment. I mean, we were, I don't know if it wasn't jealous, but it was almost like I felt like there's a lot of photographers in Phoenix.
Funny thing, I know who you're talking about, so I haven't thought about that in the longest time.
Right.
And it turned out, as you'll find out, the boogeyman is typically a sweet person
Exactly.
who you've painted in a bad light. Again, so that couple. Wonderful people, really super nice.
Anything against them. I think it was more from we're older than them, we've been doing this longer than them, we put in our time, we're talented photographers, why aren't we as busy as they are?
It's the same old why me, why them. It's one of those things where people spend so much time wondering how somebody else got so lucky and not nearly enough time wondering how to make your own luck.
Exactly. And as we always say, luck favors the prepared.
Right.
And we were prepared and we were doing well enough, but it seemed like, how does someone else catapult right past you? But those are ugly thoughts, and those thoughts did not serve us and our business. But the minute that we, as I just said a minute ago, like I feel like the minute we kind of buried that thought and just realized, look, it's us that has to get out there and put our nose to the grindstone, and we have to be the ones to put our work in to figure out why we're not at the top of the game.
But again, part of the whole thing is that, again, the whole luck favors the prepared thing is that was because they had an opportunity and they seized it. And so we didn't get that opportunity. We got different opportunities, and we seized the opportunities that we were given. Throughout your life, you're going to find you don't seize certain opportunities, and then you look back on it, well, if I had only done this, well, you didn't. So what are the opportunities that you seize that come up? And sometimes you can reflect back, and if you're honest, you go, wow, had I taken that path, I wouldn't be where I am. And if you're happy where you are, well, then that's that. And if you're not happy where you are, it wasn't just because you didn't take that one path. There's other paths to take, other opportunities will pop up. You have to just be ready for them. And then sometimes just, again, it's a weird...
Oh, it is. I mean, I do believe that everything happens for a reason. There's a reason why our path went the way that it went. And as I mentioned, we are sitting here in Paris right now, and that is 16 or 17 years ago that we're talking about. By not taking that path, I mean, we opened up a complete different trajectory for our lives, because it was during that window when we decided that we were going to take our business into our own hands, more or less, and decided to make certain changes. And when we decided to take that month off, being decisive is another thing that we'll get into it in another episode. But we decided that was going to happen for us. We were going to take that month off every July while the kids, you only have 18 years with each kid. That was important to us. And at that point, we were coming off the recession and it didn't seem like it
Yeah.
was even feasible. Like, how could we put such a lofty goal out
Right.
there for 5 or 6 months down the road and make it happen? And then that was it. We bought the tickets to Paris, and this is going to happen. We're going to spend a month there, and this is going to be our reality for the next, that was 16 or 17 years ago. We made that decision, and then all of our efforts went towards that. So no more complaining about what the other photographer's doing,
Right.
no more worrying about what so-and-so's doing or feeling bad. Why aren't we getting booked? I think, at least for me, my thought process changed. I decided, like, done with that story. Like, let's look. The fact is that we can control our destiny, and it's up to us to make those steps in order to create the life that we want. And I think that really was the change in our lives, never mind just our professional lives. So
Yeah, I remember how scary it was to go, okay, 6 months out, again, right, and it was at a moment when every dollar counted, and
Yes.
you just watched the world economy crash. And we're thinking, like, how are we going to take a month off? So we figure let's do something daring and just make it happen. Like, we had no roadmap on that. We just had a desire, and we made it happen, and it worked spectacularly. We had a great time, but more importantly, it became a thing, and our clients recognized that come July,
planners knew not to call us.
everybody knew not to call us, and then they'd always wonder, where are we going to go? They, in certain ways, lived vicariously through us.
It did. Weirdly, we created this buzz around us that had we been the other photographers, our trajectory would have, again, to keep repeating myself, it would have been different. We created a new trajectory that worked for our family, and that created, I think, actually, I think it was a massive turning point in our business.
I agree.
By making this
Both
decision.
both our business and our personal lives.
And here we are. So we're sitting here all these years later, and I think if we hadn't made that move then, and from there, I think we created a dream board, or however this all manifested, and now here we are.
Yeah, actually, and not all that far from the apartment that we rented for that month in Paris so long ago.
That's true. We walked by a lot of the same places. Yeah, I think that was definitely a moment where we realized that we had to stop telling, or at least for me, stop telling a story, and realize that I had to separate fact from fiction in our business life. The exercise for today that'll be in the show notes is I would love for you to make a list of 10 things that you want for your business to make X amount of money, to niche down, to be more motivated, to get out of debt, to learn studio lighting, to increase your pricing to X, to have X amount of people on your email list, to book X amount of clients. Be as specific as possible, and then pick the one, just one of the 10. Let's say you chose to add 100 subscribers to your email list. Pick a date that you want to do this by, and write down the first 10 steps you need to take towards this outcome. I will have 100 people on my email list 30 days from today. And then create a freebie, how to dress for your photo shoot, that I can have available when people land on my website. Use Pinterest to promote your website and drive people to your site to download the freebie. Of course, all entering their email address. Create a content calendar for socials, all about how to dress for your photo shoot. Create content to showcase this freebie so that people give me their email address. Record a video to put on the front of your website talking about why you need to know how to dress for your photo shoot, and content to your website, blog posts, etc., discussing why people need to download this, how to dress for your photo shoot. Write 5 blog posts about branding shoots, be a guest on a podcast where you discuss branding photo shoots and how to prepare for them. Put a call to action on all your social posts asking people to sign up for your email list. And number 10, listen to a podcast about how to grow your email list. Well, maybe that should have been number 1. But anyway, starting with that, with the 10 things that you want for your business and narrowing it down to 1, and then as you'll see progress, like when you have those 10 steps and you actually execute and follow through, and you see a result. And I think when you see results, that gives you the confidence that to keep going.
Success breeds success. Let's say once it's like you're waking up and making your bed in the morning. It's just one small win gets you to the next step. And so if you start off with a win, you'll get more wins.
Exactly. And anyway, that concludes today's rambling podcast. So that concludes today's podcast. Thank you.
Cool. Nice seeing you. Until next time.
Bye-bye.